Pastor, don't try to be the only church marketer, don't try to be the only communicator in your church, thinking that you're the only one that can pull this off, the only one that can really do your website. And I'm not even saying from a skill level. I'm saying you've got maybe 30, 50, 75 people in your church, and you're like, well, no one else can do this, so I'm going to do it myself. I've seen those websites. I can spot those websites from a mile away. Boy, Pastor obviously tried to do this on his own. And the worst part is your people, your neighborhood, your community can notice that as well. Something's going to come up, Pastor, and you immediately think, who am I going to get to do this? Well, I don't have anyone that I can do this. So when am I going to do this? And you're forced, when you take on these tasks of marketing your church by yourself, you're forced to really choose between two things. Should I sermon prep or should I build the website? Should I optimize the Facebook ad or see what's going on here with this or try to figure out my Google business profile? Or should I go do this hospital visit? Well, obviously you're going to do the hospital visit. Obviously you're going to go make that house call or prepare for that funeral, which means the Google business profile, the Facebook ad, the logo, whatever have you, is going to be unmaintained, undone, and this progress is going to be completely halted. And what should take you a couple weeks is going to take you a couple years. Or you build something that's minimal viable and then you never touch it again. I can also spot those websites. So Pastor, I want to encourage you, if you ever catch yourself in that anxious position, and I find this self when I have my own anxiety going on, I feel like I'm stuck between making two poor choices. I just did that last night. I was real grumpy last night and I was like, I have no good choice in this situation. I have to work hard this way, or work hard that way, and I have no way out. There is no right answer. I feel stuck. And that is a terrible place for you to be stuck in, your family, with your friends, with your relationships, with your kids, with your parents. And now you gotta stay stuck on this. Like, well, what do I do? What do I give up? What do I sacrifice? You need to realize that this is something that is a pitfall that we're gonna get into when we try to do these things ourselves. So what you have to do is take a hands-off approach. You have to ask yourself, can I do this? And even if I can, should I do this? Some of my best clients, in websites and Facebook ads, what have you, they also know how to run them themselves. And the fact that they know how to do it means they know how much time it's going to take. And more specifically, how much time it's going to take away from their pastoral duties. So then they go to the next part, which is, who do I know that can do this? Or who can I outsource this to? Or just say no. That's kind of like the three things. Okay. So first of all, can I do this? And if you could, you probably already would have, right? If you could figure out your Google presence and rank higher in Google so more people could find you during the holiday season, you probably would already have been doing it. Okay. So most of the time when a new marketing opportunity, when a new whatever comes up, a new best practice, a new article you read, and you're like, oh man, I should be doing more podcast appearances. You have to ask yourself, well, can I do this? And really the answer is probably no, because otherwise I would have already been doing this. There are some pastors that are great designers. They never have to ask themselves, should I make this sermon series graphic? It's not a question. They just do it and they do it well. That's fine. So then you really come down to three other questions. Who do I know that can do this? And know that I said, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Know that I said, who do I know that can do this? Not who do I know that it can do this well? Because I understand sometimes you've got to pass the reins off to someone in your church to take on a project that you know they're going to fail a couple times at. The fact that I'm here and the fact that you're listening to me is because another pastor did that to me, right? Hey, you're good with computers. Can you do our website? It took me 6 months to figure out, but eventually we figured it out. So I understand it's not so much who do I know that can do this well, but who do I know that can do this, period. Because even if it needs to be done, it's better that it's done and then open-ended, which is never ending. But also, who can I outsource this to? If you are in a dire position where your church has been around the community for 80 years and you still pass people that say, I've never heard of that place before, this might not be something that should fall to someone you know. It should be what can I do to outsource this? Okay. And I would specifically phrase it that way, not who can I outsource this to, but what can I do to make sure this is outsourceable? If you need someone to overtake your website, if you need someone to edit your sermons, if you need someone to do your social media, if you need someone to run ads or take over your Google ad grant, you may know someone you can outsource it to, but it's not the right person for the job. So then you have to ask, what can I do to make sure this is outsourced to the right people? This is often where we come in. We do free consults throughout the month. We had to limit it now to 5 because we were just getting too many. But you can go to 360.novachurchmarketing.com and apply for a consult. If you do it right now, the holiday months are pretty open, so we should be good for the next couple months. 360.novachurchmarketing.com. And do a consult so you can see what it's like to at least outsource some of your discovery, which is how do we audit what we're doing and how do we develop that roadmap? And what does that roadmap look like as far as timeline, cost, people required, resources required, all that good stuff. And you'll kind of see exactly what it's like when you no longer have to think of what to do. You just have to answer the questions of what is and have someone come alongside and implement and execute it for you. So what do I have to do to outsource this? Do I have to do fundraising? Do I have to sell some church equipment? Do I have to approach a donor, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Everything in church that we have or that we want is in the hands of other people. The money we need to keep the building going, to keep the ministries alive, that money is in other people's hands. The time and talent that we need is in other people's hands. The attention that we need to spread the gospel is in other people's minds. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with going out and finding someone else to outsource a need to. And even if it's not a part of your church, it should be a good fit. It's a whole another conversation about how to know who to outsource and who's going to do a good job for your church. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But you can always send me an email or shoot me a text, 832-861-7654, and we can just have a quick discussion about that. And then you might have to say no. You might have to say that's not something we're going to do right now. And that's, again, something that I don't like to say, but Pastor, maybe if you can't outsource it and you don't have anyone to do it, maybe Facebook ads is not the thing for you to do right now because you've got to get your website straight. Maybe an app is not a good thing to spend time on because your website isn't straight. Maybe designing flyers and door knockers and going out in the middle of the week to do that is not the thing to do because you've got a backlog of people that you're supposed to contact, call, follow up with, pray for, reach out to, and visit. So going out and putting door knockers up is not what you should be spending your time on. So maybe you just say no to this right now. And maybe it's no, not right now, but maybe it's just no, we'll do that when I have someone that can do it for me or someone that I can outsource to. You take this hands-off approach because it's going to help you focus down on your ministry because no pastor should be the marketer first, okay? That is very difficult to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but most small local church pastors are there to shepherd the flock. They already have to do financial planning. They already have to do executive administration and account management and all these other things that pastors have to do as part of just running the church as a business and running the church as an organization. To promote it is just one more thing that if you do it unwell, you're going to hurt all the other areas of your church. So take a hands-off approach. When an opportunity arises, be confident that you're going to do it well by finding someone to do it that can dedicate more time than you can, by someone that knows how to do it, so that your church can effectively market yourself and that you can reach more people with a better message because you're not writing it, which we'll get into in just a sec. I don't want to get too far into that. But Pastor, I would rather you focus on your ministry and lead the flock to develop and build someone else to equip them to be the church communications person, then burn yourself out trying to do it yourself. And then eventually you swear off of it and your church is just going to sit there, and 80 years from now, you're going to be that church that no one's ever heard of. You need to make sure that you're not the only one doing this. And especially if you are the only one doing it, do not demand perfection. And that's done is better than perfect, because if you're just constantly aiming for perfect, it's going to stay on the back burner. And it's going to keep bleeding your time and bleeding your time and bleeding your time until eventually what's on the main dish is getting burned because you're not giving it your full attention.